Then the C keywords. Actually, C is, as per the ANSI C, it is 32 keywords. But when you refer the internet, they have something, somewhere something is extra. In some definition, they will have one or two keywords less. But always this table, whatever that you are seeing, is from ANSI C. So these are the different keywords that is applicable to embedded C as well. Embedded C is not from the general C, not different from some general C. The general C is used in laptops and computers. Here we are using it for microcontroller. That is the different. But all other things are what how they behave in the computer or laptop, the same way they behave in microcontroller or microprocessor. Right. So here are nearly 32 keywords totally. So among them, what is for auto? I believe for auto, I have given you enough explanation. It is a storage class. So if you explicitly specify it, it is confined that they will store that in stack only. Even if you don't specify it, they will store it in stack only. Right. So auto is a storage class. That is one thing. Then we have break. What is break? We have this keyword in CAPL, Python, every programming language. What for it is?
To break the instructions, sorry.
It is like an unconditional branching. You are running a loop and want to abort it. You have a switch case statement. You want to break the case and come out from the switch block. In those places, you can use break. Break is just to abort a current task and come out from it. That is for that they are using it. Then we have a case statement. The case is a one that is used to define different condition in your switch case, like case 1, case 2, case 3, like that. Right? For that it is used. Char, it is a data type that you all know, used to store data of size 1 byte. Right now, usually they are used to store text ASCII characters. Then we have const. Const is a additional to extra to data type. I can declare an integer. I can add an additional property to that integer. No one in this program can change this integer. There are values like that. We want to use them in program with such a characteristics. We have to define them once. After that, no one can change them as long as program is running. Example, filter coefficients. Some constants used in physical that is instrumentation, we are using different constants, right? We should not change them. They are fixed. How to specify them in C programming? By adding a additional keyword called const. You can do that. What is continue is used? We all know the continue is used to skip the current iteration and go to the next iteration. So we won't do it very blindly. We won't call continue in a without any conditions. We always associate condition continue with certain condition. If that condition is satisfied, we will call continue. That will skip the current iteration and will go for the next one. Then we have a default. Default is we have a switch case statement now. In that, if none of the case conditions are satisfied, the code block that is associated with the default will be executed. Right? What is do? Do. We have the keyword in CAPL as well. Right? It will execute the task first, the task that we have in the while block first, and then we'll check the condition. So do the action first and then check the condition. That is very very much needed when we want to display some sort of menus to user and want him to pick some choice. In those cases, we can go for do while loop. For that, this do keyword is used. Do means do the action first and then you check the condition. Double is a data type. This data type is used to store real numbers. Real numbers means the numbers which has a fractional part. Some compiler double can reserve 8 byte. In some compiler, it can reserve 4 byte. It depends on the compiler type and microcontroller type, type of the microcontroller. Right? So there will be a difference. Right. So that is what called as double. Then else we have a if statement. If the condition is satisfied, we execute if block. Else we execute in another block of statement. For that they use else. Enum is we have a sequence of strings. Right? These sequence of strings are used as an index. They are associated with the sequential index, right? That helps us to increase the readability of the program. For example, I can create a enum with list of month and then enum list of month, and I can start with January, February, like that. Actually, I use the text January, February, like that. But as I declared them as enum, as I declare that list as enum, what will happen is they will give the index 0 to January, 1 to February, like that they assign index automatically for your textual identifiers. That is called that for that the enum is used. Then extern. You have a global variable declared in one file and want to use it across different files. Then you can go for extern. You can bring that variable in another file and can use it. So it is helpful when you have a project with multiple files. Float. What is the difference between double and float? So float follows a concept of IEEE 32-bit number representation. If you don't know what is IEEE 32-bit number representation, you can check that. There are a lot of articles and then writings available in the internet. They store a fractional number in 32 bits. Any number, even 0.2, to store 0.2, you require 32 bits. To store 99999.99999, you require 32 bits. You can ask me a question, how that is possible? See, when we have a lesser value, we should reserve only lesser number of bits only. No. The IEEE 32-bit floating point number follow a standard. For that, they have written, as we have a UDS standard, AUTOSAR standard, they have a standard for it. You can go and research on that. So the float declare variables as per that specification. Right. So it stores these real numbers in that format. That is the difference. And for when you want to run loops, you can go for for. Go to is an unconditional branching without checking any condition. You can branch your program counter from one location to another location. If a decision making keyword used to make decisions, used to make branches in your program. Int, a data type again, used to declare 2 byte or 4 byte data numbers, right? For that it is used. The size of int differ from compiler to compiler, right? So for which microcontroller you use integer. If you are using a number in an 8-bit controller and you are programming in an 8-bit, you are having a compiler which is working for an 8-bit controller, then integer will be 8-bit only, right? There you cannot think about long and other stuff, right? So it will have a different meaning in different compilers and the processor or microcontroller for which you are programming. Long is double the time of integer, right? If it is 4 byte means it is 8 byte. If it is 2 byte means it is 4 byte, like that, which has more coverage, more range. Register, every microcontroller and microprocessor will have auxiliary registers. There are certain registers, those are core, like accumulator, these things, status registers. But there are certain location, those are part of microcontroller or processor. We can store value to them, value in them as well. For that, to reserve memory in CPU registers, we can use the keyword register. Actually, register is a storage class like auto. When I say auto int, I ask the compiler to store variable or that variable in stack memory. The same thing if I say register int a, I'm asking compiler to store a in some of the auxiliary register of that microcontroller or processor. That is the difference. Why we have to store them? Ease of access. That means we can very easily, we can, because that is part of the computer. So speed of the execution will be more when we use register keyword, right? The return is when you want to come out from a function, right? Then you can use return. Short of that of integer. So if your integer is 2 byte, start will be 1 bit. Right. So that is the difference. Signed, it is an additional property added to a data type like const and other things. The signed means you are declaring that variable as a signed entity so that it can have positive and negative values. Unsigned is opposite to this one. So when you define some variable as signed, for example, particular data type, if I say integer variable as a signed integer variable, signed int a, what is the total range of bytes used by integer? 4 right now. 2 byte range will be used to represent negative number and another 2 bytes will be used by positive number. Right. So it 50 percentage will be given to negative range, 50 percentage will be given to positive range. When I say, when I do the same declaration with unsigned int that variable name, entire range 4 byte will be used in positive range. That means there is no negative sign at all. You cannot store a negative number in that entity. There are many entities like that in projects. So based on that entity, we can define the type of variable, whether it is a signed one or unsigned one. Right. Let us say example of vehicle speed. Vehicle speed cannot have a sign. Always it is positive. In that case, you can go for unsigned. Declaring it as a signed doesn't make any sense. We lose 50 percentage in the data range right now. So depends on your physical quantity that you want to process in C programming. You can choose different option. Size of this particular keyword will provide you the size of a data type or variable. You can use them to find out the size of it. Let us say, I think we can even do a program. So we'll do that in upcoming session. Right, just you can declare a variable integer a, and if you pass a to size of, it will tell how many byte it is. You can try something here, right? think this is having in a specific library. Let me try slicer.
Make it printf answer. You have written print.
Thank you. Hmm. Very interesting. Did I type size of A? I just size of A is okay. Why that is not? We are not seeing it. Hmm. DCL.c. I think we are updating in that only now. That is missing, right? Hmm. See, here it is. Size of A is 1 because A is 1 byte in size because it is character. If I same thing, if I do it for, I think I declared E as integer, I believe, right? So if I put E there, output will be different. It will be 4. So that is another way to understand or to know the size of a variable that you declare, right? That is the use of that keyword. Static, again a storage class. As this stores in stack, this stores in register, this one will store it in the RAM. There are, I told, different sections in RAM. One is stack memory. So when you declare something as statics, you are not storing it in, store that in your stack memory, not even heap. You store it in a stand as other than these two sections. We have the remaining RAM, no? There we store. The static variables are global variables. When you declare an entity as static, that is available because it is directly in the RAM. As long as there is a power, as long as your program is running, that variable will be alive. But this variable that we have in the stack, register, they are not like that. It is not a single memory location that use it for your entire program. Depends on the place that you use. The memory allotted in this stack will differ. But here it is not the case because they are storing it in a RAM, not in the stack or heap. So we get that available in your entire program execution. But the problem with static is, though they are global, from the time you declare it until you complete your program, they are available. But they gave a scope to it. If it is declared inside a function, though it is a static, though it is a global variable, if it is declared inside a function, it is available only in that function. If it is declared in main function, it is available only in that main function. So according to that, according to the place where it is declared, within that particular functions or module only, it is accessible. But in the memory, it is available as long as you run your program, as long as there is a power supply to the RAM. So that is the difference between auto, register, and static. These are storage class. You should know these things well when you want to do a programming for a microcontroller or a processor. Even controlling programming microcontroller is little bit easy. But when you do a programming for this DSP processor and other stuff, this motor controllers, those sort of things, you have to be very much clear about these storage classes. Otherwise, you will make mistakes. Struct a user-defined data type that user can combine multiple data type together and can create in one entity. Right? Actually, if we when we have an integer pointer, it jumps 4 byte every time when you increment the pointer. Pointer plus plus means it increment 4 bytes. You can even create a structure pointer. Let us say your structure contains one character, one integer, and one float. The float is require an 8 byte. 8 plus 4, 12. 12 plus 1, 13. The structure pointer will jump 13 byte for every plus plus. Because 13 bytes is one structure, one object. After this 13 only, the next structure will start, so that it will make a jump of 13 bytes each time. Right? So from that, what we come to conclusion, what the conclusion is? The conclusion is structure is a user-defined data type. That's it. Right. So without member function, when you add a function and other stuff, then that becomes a class. Right. Switch statement, again a decision-making statement which can make an independent decision. Type difference or type difference they used to say. So you can rename the data types that we have in our C programming to the convenient data type that we are using in our projects. For example, I can type def integer as number. I can type def integer as word. Because in my programming, I use them as that keyword is famous for my projects. So I can go for word. So for that it is used. Union, this is something similar to structure, but it follows a different methods that we will see later point of time in detail. Right. It is also a user-defined combination of multiple data types. Right. Then unsigned, it is a specifier. As we specify signed, we can also specify unsigned. Void means if something is not, the function is not going to return anything. Right. After processing, then you can go for void. You can use void as a return type. Right. Volatile. Right. Again, this is a temporary storage. Probably they are storing it in stack. Right. So they have a different lifetime. That is the difference between an auto and volatile variable. Then while is used as a looping statement. As we have for, we also have while. So these keywords are there in CAPL as well. But some of these keywords are not available in CAPL. That's why I again explained them one more time. Right. Right. With this, we can end today's session.